AccessiBe is another overlay vendor. And so with an overlay, the basic premise is that you get a piece of JavaScript code, you insert that code into your website, a clickable icon appears, and then when someone clicks that icon, then a menu of supposed accessibility options is available. And overlays fail for so many reasons. So they don't make your website accessible. Technically, they fail. And but before we if we go ahead and assume that they did make your website accessible, there's one fatal flaw, and that's that you have to know to activate it. Because with an overlay, your website itself isn't accessible. So someone either has to want to activate it, know to activate it, or find it has to find it and know that it's available. And that doesn't always happen. So there are so many reasons why it fails. You've got the inception failure, and then you've got the fact that even if we got down and we eliminated the inception failure, it would still technically fail and not make your website accessible. And you might think, well, practically, maybe they'll help me prevent a lawsuit. Well, we've already seen now that lawsuits are coming in and they are coming against websites with overlays installed. And there are so many different overlay vendors. There's probably 8 to 10 out there. But it doesn't matter which one it is because your website is wholly inaccessible. And even if you activate the overlay, it's still inaccessible. Accessibility, here's what's really important. The most important thing is that accessibility cannot be automated. You cannot simply say, I've installed this menu bar and now I'm accessible. That doesn't work. It doesn't work for a number of reasons. It just fails. We don't know exactly what constitutes ADA compliance because there is no legal prescription. However, what we can say is that WCAG 2.0 AA has been commonly referenced by the Department of Justice and in courts in deciding whether a website is accessible. So it's not that WCAG is the law, but it is a guiding force in what constitutes accessibility. And no matter whether it's AccessiBe or another overlay vendor, they all fail. They don't actually conform to these to WCAG. So they don't conform to the guidelines. Even if they say they do, we can, without any hesitation, prove that they don't. And if you want to read more on the technical failure side, you can go to overlaysdon'twork.com, and that's going to list out most, but not all, of the ways that overlays technically fail. But again, let's go back to one thing I zeroed in on as an attorney was that we don't have full and equal access and enjoyment because we have this separate thing. So the website itself should be what's accessible. Someone shouldn't have to opt in to an accessible experience. Your website needs to be accessible itself. So when we talk about website accessibility, it really comes down to just making your website flexible enough so that people with different disabilities and ranges of disabilities can still access the content and functions. And that's really what it comes down to. And overlays don't give you that same experience. They don't give you that full and equal access and experience. And so they fail on so many levels. And what we see with AccessiBe is they've really pushed on marketing. So they've got the logos on their website, and they've got a bunch of affiliates working for them, and they're putting out a lot of content, but they can't cover up the fundamentals. And the fundamentals are that overlays overlays cannot make your website accessible. And there really isn't much of an argument that you can put forth there. The reason why we keep seeing overlays pop up is because automated accessibility is obviously something that would be highly profitable. If we could really stop these lawsuits by a way of just, for example, installing a JavaScript and being done with it, then that would be highly profitable because everybody would do it really fast. But that's not the way it works. Actual accessibility requires manual attention, manual remediation, a manual audit to go through the website. And that's just not what's happening. And here's another thing to consider. The best automated scans in the world from the most reputable companies can only catch about 1/3 of accessibility errors per WCAG 2.0 AA. They can only catch about 1/3 of those. So how could there be any solution, quote unquote, solution that purports to catch or to not only catch the errors, but remediate everything? Everything. Like they're like if you look at AccessiBe, they're saying I think their website now says 96. Sometimes it says full conformance. They really changed. They've changed their wording. They get they've become more careful in how they word it. But I think you'll still see full conformance with 2.0 AA and 2.1 AA, and they'll say fully ADA compliant. And the truth is that overlays don't make you accessible. It doesn't matter whether it's AccessiBe, it could be anybody else. This is going to be a recurring theme for me because I think that we need to make sure people are educated. Consumers right now are understandably just going and they really want that easy solution. They want that instant solution, and it is cheaper. It does cost less, but it's like you're paying less, but you're getting nothing. It's like buying a cardboard car. Like you want a car, and someone tells you this is a car, and then it's only it's 1/10 of the price of a regular car, but you're still not getting a car. So my point is that overlays don't work. They're just a waste of money.